All right, guys, we're going to start this show off. Welcome, all you geek enthusiasts and nerd aficionados. Masonic Vader hosting this week's of, yeah, everyone laughs when I say aficionados. Shut up. Anyways, hosting this week's All Nerd News podcast, hosting by Malice Corp. Thank you guys for joining us. This is season 4, episode 10. I don't know if there was a title for it, so I'm just going to say thanks for hunkering in and enjoying the show. Once again, I'm your host, Masonic Vader. All right, so like we start the show every week, what have you been geeking out on this last week, or what should we not be geeking out on?
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Joining us tonight on cast, we have Super Hoovian. How you doing tonight?
Well, I mean, I just got back from Vegas Con, so I mean, most of last week was all full of Supernatural. This week I caught up on This Is Us, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, A Million Little Things, and The Rookie. So, good shows there.
Yeah, you probably wore out still there from that, huh?
I know I am. I am still tired. In fact, this time last week, I think we were starting the karaoke party, so, which I did, by the way.
Shameless plug for Super Hoovian. If you don't follow her, please follow her, because some of the cool photos she had from last week, I was quite entertained by watching it throughout the week. Quite jealous. Good job.
Yeah, it was fun. Even for a no touching convention, it was fun. So.
Isn't that the usual? Don't touch talent. Don't.
No.
What states of Vegas? What happened in Vegas? Whatever. I don't know.
It's very much not the norm. They're a very huggy bunch. So it was really sad, actually, because they would like lean in to go hug people, and then you would see them like catch, and they would be like, and they would just give like a sad smile, like they would just be like, you know, can't do it. So
give you a Wi-Fi.
But apparently singing into the same karaoke, air high fives.
Wi-Fi.
And then there was no containing Jared. He just touched everyone. He didn't care. He was just like whatever. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I am 6'5". Try and stop me. So.
I need to go to that convention. Apparently, I'll try. All right. Nudie Rudy, welcome back, sir. How you doing today?
I am doing excellent. Very happy to be here. Happy it's Friday.
Yeah. So, what are you geeking out about, or what should we not be geeking out about, sir?
Well, teeing off what Super Hoovian Freak there said, I have been catching up on The Rookie now that it's back on. I absolutely love that show. Nathan Fillion is my hero. Yeah, definitely. I love that man. Watch anything he's in. And I've been playing more Red Dead Redemption 2. Getting into that a little late, but better late than never. Loving that game. And also been finally getting back into some Lemony Snicket, Series of Unfortunate Events. Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris is another one. I eat that man up.
Yes.
He did such a good job in that too.
Yes,
he did. The whole cast, it's just a fun show, but definitely he is the highlight.
And I'm glad you're joining us from, it looks like the set of Mad Men with that nice 1960s light behind you there, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Modern period.
I got Aaron the laugh on that one, so I'm good. I like that. Speaking of Aaron, sir, how you doing this week?
All right, man. I'm all right.
All right. What are we nerding out on or not nerding out on this week? What are we doing there?
I am not nerding out on this coronavirus madness. I had to go to the store today, and I watched two probably 80-year-old people buy $600 worth of groceries for no apparent reason. There was no order to it. There was no vegetables, meats, starches. There was none of that. It was just whatever they could fit in two freaking shopping carts. No toilet paper.
No, that was already gone, obviously.
I know, but still, it's still gone. They're not restocking.
Yeah.
And they're limiting people. They're limiting people to 3 huge things of toilet paper.
Who needs that much?
That's why you just get the cloth ones that are wiped, the wet wipes or whatever they are, man. You get the package, it lasts forever. You're good to go.
This stuff's mad.
Get some reusable diapers.
I haven't been able to focus on anything and give it my full attention the way that I normally do. Because
get a bidet
always in the back of my mind.
Get a bidet. Just get a bidet. Solve your problems. Get a bidet.
Yeah. So
you know how overpriced those things already were? They're like, no.
Do not nerd out on the coronavirus.
Well, I didn't get to do my nerding out. So I'm nerding out. There's actually a show which will actually, maybe get jumped in here in one of our topics here in a second. There's a show on Disney Plus called Lost Cities by Andrew Lin. And it's a 6-episode season. It looks like it's a starter off. And what it is Andrew Lin's he's like a modern day Indiana Jones in a sense, except he uses technology. He uses drones. He uses pinpoint laser accurate stuff. And what he does is he goes to these different places and scans the area and able to remove the environment to actually see what's underneath there. And he's actually, without giving anything away, he's actually helped a couple of the dig sites find other things. It's really interesting. It's called Lost Cities. It's on Disney Plus. Definitely check it out. They're about 45-minute episodes. I don't know the background of them yet because I just saw it last week and I binged them all this week. He's got a prosthetic right leg, which I don't know how he lost that from, but he's out there hoofing it up mountains and they're going to places like Stonehenge, the Amazon forest. Everywhere. He's gone one place to another. It's a great show to check out if you're into history. The other thing is I turned 45 yesterday, got older, and I have to give a shout out. Oh, thank you. I got to give a shout out to my family on the East Coast, my sister and her family. They got me this sweet thermal mug that has Darth Vader on one side and Stormtrooper on the other. And it's one of those hardcore thermals that keeps your stuff either cold or hot for 8 hours. Nice. So it's and of course I'm blessing it with my Friday night drink instead of coffee. So yeah, cheers to me there. So nothing not to geek out on this week other than I'm still playing Fortnite. Go figure, they got me still. They hooked me.
Obviously, your boy on Lost Cities there lost his leg in a booby trap, man. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope that's what that would be a cool way to go about it. But you know what? I'll have to research it. Next time I'll have to tell you about it. And by the way, before we get going here, in our chat room, if you're not joining us live, first of all, you should be on Twitch right now, following us on Malice Corp. This is the best way to do it. Now, this show is going to be edited and punched through, so we're going to mistake here and there. So if you join us live, it's awesome because in the chat room, this guy right here, they sit there and they give us so much crap. All right. But there's also a lot of good chat going on. And I want to throw in that Red Meepaw is in there. Welcome to the show tonight, Red. Been now subscribed for 10 months. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Pete jumped in and thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It was my birthday yesterday, Red. So I look a young 32. Shit. I do look it, but I'm definitely not it. Yeah, then so join into the cast, please, and that's where we're gonna on the Twitch show, and you definitely join that live chat. It's gonna be fun. Aaron or Nudie Rudy or even Super is probably gonna be doing more of the looking at this than I am because I got to actually do this whole show thing. So, let's get out of the nerd news. Let's get into the main part of the show, and let's start talking about the nerd news. All right, so we got some good news. Let's hit the spectrum tonight. The first topic of news: has anyone seen the Great British Baking Show on Netflix? I bet you Super has. Have you seen it, Super?
Yes.
Hey, Ron, you guys?
I've seen the British. I've seen the American. I love it all.
Awesome.
Never once.
Never
love the British Bake Off. Come on, man. That stuff is great.
No. I love cooking shows. I really do. I watch Binging with Babish. I watch all of the Bon Appetit test kitchen. I go through all of those things like it's maddening. But I have never once watched the Great British Baking Show.
You don't even need to watch it for the baking. It's just
I don't know what it is. I don't know. I think it's just the over dramatization of the competition between the cooks. I think it's just because it's the same reason I can't watch The Voice or X Factor.
But no, that's the whole thing about the Great British Bake Off and its charm. It's not dramatization. It's wholesome. Everybody helps each other.
Maybe
it's so
maybe I'll check it out.
Loving. Yeah, I'm telling you.
I think Gordon Ramsay ruined it for me.
Oh, Gordon.
What are you, Aaron?
Oh my God. And I've already been corrected. So here's the thing. Our host, our chief is not on the show, but boy, apparently he wants to make sure I'm doing my job right. And it's actually episode 11, season 4. So thank you for correcting me. Appreciate that. I've seen an episode or two. I'm also kind of like on the Aaron thing where I'm not a big fan of cooking. However, this show might catch my eye only because of the fact that they are going to be looking at getting an upgrade. So they've had a number of hosts go through since the show's been started. There's one of them still left. Noel Fielding, I believe his name is.
Paul Hollywood's the one original left.
Who is it?
Paul Hollywood. He's the one original left.
Who's Noel Fielding? Was that one of the prior ones, I guess?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, there's one original host left. They've cycled through. Now, this next season, they're actually going to be getting a new host, and it's in the form of Matt Lucas. And for people who don't know who Matt Lucas is, he was between 2015 and 2017 Nordal from Doctor Who. Thank you,
Doctor Who,
and he's a huge fan favorite. So
he was Peter Capaldi's right-hand man. He's a good guy.
He made that good of an impression in 2 seasons, which is awesome. And now they're going to be having him on the baking show. So I could see the baking show getting an influx of new people because I'm going to check it out. What do you guys think? Let's start with the two who watched the show. Ladies first, Super, what do you think?
I mean, he's definitely going to be an upgrade from who the American, because they do an American version of the show too. So it's a great British American Bake Off or whatever it's called. And it's hosted by Baby Spice. So...
What? I mean, wait, what?
Yeah, and she's not bad. Don't get me wrong; she's actually quite charming. But she's it's the same guy, but it's Baby Spice, and then I want to say a former football player whose name I can never remember. And it's
Michael Strahan because he's in everything else.
No. It's not. I would remember that name. It's just a. I mean, he's just a big, giant, tall black guy.
I guess
pick a name from there.
William,
but it's actually funny. So I think it's going to be good because I loved him on Doctor Who.
That finally answers Butcher's question from the boys. What's Baby Spice up to? Well,
yes,
now we know.
That is what she's up to. She's eating food on the American Bake Off or whatever it's called.
Having her cake and eating it too.
Yep.
Like the Spice Girl.
Yep.
There you go. So Nudie Rudy, what are your thoughts, sir?
I would watch the Great British Bake Off. It was hosted by 4 mannequins, so I'm on board. Not a Whovian myself, but I love the show, and I will continue watching it quite enjoyably.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I think that's a good casting. He's got a comedic background to him. I think that's, and with some of these shows like that, I think you need to have some of that comedy. You either got to have you got to have something to you. You can't be dry. I mean, you either got to go full spectrum Gordon and just hate people, or you got to have this comedic side to it because I think that's what keeps the interest. Anything else in between, if you're like some kind of professional that just knows stuff, you're not going to just keep fans watching the show. I don't know. You got to have something to it.
The Great British Bake Off has the setup nice where it's got 2 actual judges that are actual bakers and know what's going on. And then the comedic relief with Sandy and Noel.
With the host.
He's replacing Sandy. So
if you've ever watched any of the British TV that Matt Lucas has ever been on, he's been on 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown and QI, which is called Quite Interesting, which are both they're trivia shows, but he actually has both a decent knowledge of many, many things and a great comedic talent to make the things that he doesn't know really hilarious. So I think he'll be a good fit. I think he'll be a really, really good fit for any TV show, not just a British Bake Off.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be pretty fun. I'll definitely check it out. I don't know if I'll get hooked on it, but I'm going to try it at least. I'm interested in seeing that. So,
Oh, you'll get hooked. Wholesome AF.
Oh boy, either that or I'm gonna get pissed because I can't make half the stuff they're showing.
Yeah, there is some of that because you'll see it and you'll
Ah.
just be like, who thinks of this? Why? Why do you
Afterthought
torture
Christmas
people?
Failure.
Yeah.
Let me
Get
turn
ready for
this.
some
Let
puddings.
me take this little simple bottle of I don't know vanilla and turn it into the greatest cake in the world. I mean that's what's gonna bug me.
That they do that, and sometimes they'll do things with ingredients you've never even heard of. I will say this though, because I haven't watched the newest season of the British one, but I did just finish the American one with a friend of mine, and I love the fact that like a monk from just like a random monastery won it all. His name was like Brother, I don't even remember what his name
A
was,
monk?
Brother Michael or something like that.
Like
But
full-on traditional monk.
yeah, full on traditional monk, and the guy could bake
Nice.
like he was freaking Sarah Lee or something like that.
Well, he's got freaking time on his hands.
Yeah. And he would always tell his stories like, well, I do this for the monks in the monastery, and the monks love it when I do this. And I'm like, well, dude, of course, because they're not eating freaking like birdseed, you know?
Not a bunch of unleavened
Hey,
bread.
hey,
Yeah.
it's not birdseed. It's refried beans and leftover chips from the local town that you have to go get from Nacho Libre. All right. All right. Let's move on to the next thing because we always have to talk about the Empire. I mean Disney.
No, you
Disney
were right.
Plus is in there. Yeah, I'm sure I was, but it's fun. I mean, technically they are the Empire now. Disney Plus, there was a nice article that came out this week that Mess pointed out. So we've talked about how since Disney Plus has started, they had 28 million people sign up within the first 3 months, and they've been able to maintain it. However, there's been some reports that Disney is too stringent with their choice of what goes on Disney Plus. We'll just throw it out there like this. So far, Disney Plus, if you don't have it already, has a bunch of their original movies and they have a bunch of their original shows and stuff. They're adding and adding and adding. And of course, they have The Mandalorian. They've got a lot of shows in the mix. However, we always keep talking about the ones that are going to be Marvel or Star Wars related and nothing else. And when you start looking into this article and kind of picking it apart, just in the first year, they're planning on having 36 originals. They have 50 scripted shows and they have 50 unscripted shows in the works. All right. So they have a lot of stuff coming on, but unfortunately, a lot of stuff's either being pushed or it's only being anchored by certain shows like Falcon and Winter Soldier or WandaVision or Loki, all the ones we keep talking about week by week. The big thing about this, and this is what I found interesting about the show or about the article, is they talked about 3 shows that were scrapped. And it's safe to say to me that when I say these shows, I think everybody on this cast, let alone probably everyone watching the show and everyone who watches it later, would be seriously interested in watching these 3 shows. Okay. The first one was Muppets Live Another Day, and it was going to be done by Aiden Howitz. Now, I find that interesting that they scrap it because to me, the Muppets are timeless. You can make another Muppet movie and probably people will go watch it out, spend money to watch it. But wouldn't it be awesome to have a Muppet show that you could watch on a channel that's consistent, that's not HBO, PBS, Sesame Street, that we can't do anymore? You can't even watch Sesame Street anymore because it's on HBO. The other one was called Book of Enchantment that was going to be done by Michael Setzman. And then the one I really was excited about, but did not know, it was never announced, was that there was going to be a Tron adaptation show that was going to be done by John Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about those 3 shows. First of all, would you guys be interested in seeing any of those shows? Yeah or nay? Thoughts on them? Yes or no? Let's start with Ron this time. What do you think?
Hell yeah. I would have watched all 3 of them, probably repeatedly. Like you said, the Muppets are timeless. I mean, Jim Henson, that's a name that's going to ring on like Mr. Rogers and like Walt Disney for ages, for generations. Mm-hmm. So bringing the Muppets back would have been a great thing. But here's the thing about what Disney's doing. They've proven that they can. They stood up and they punched Netflix in the face and said, hey, we can do this too. So just sit down. And then they didn't need to do anything anymore because they already have the clout. They're not a predominantly streaming service, but they've proven now with things like The Mandalorian, with bringing everything out of their vault, with pulling everything off of Netflix and off of Prime and off of wherever it was seated prior back to their own home territory. They don't really need to expand as much on this as something like Netflix or Prime does. So I can understand why they would be pulling back, because they need to find that balance. They need to say, okay, we have this much devoted to streaming. Now we need to make sure that we balance it back and we get back to the thing that we're known for, which is pushing out freaking huge premieres every year. So I can understand why there would be pullback, and that's not going to not make me sad, because I need more Tron in my life.
Yeah.
Because there was supposed to be a Tron 3 10 years ago, and I'm still pissed off about that. But yeah,
Duty.
I get it.
What are you thinking about, Duty?
Well, personally, I think that, Disney is a behemoth, a juggernaut, and they have diehard fans that are going to subscribe, and they have such a deep library that people are going to have plenty of stuff to enjoy and play around with for the foreseeable future, and their fans will stick with them. But if they want to be a viable streaming service and catch a lot more eyes and be a juggernaut like they clearly want to be, they do need that original content. Like The Mandalorian was a freaking sensation. That show was amazing. I loved it. It's the best Star Wars thing I've ever seen. And I'm not a big Star Wars fan. Seen every Star Wars thing, but I loved The Mandalorian. Really did. But ever since binging The Mandalorian and watching the few Marvel and Star Wars movies that I wanted to catch up on, I haven't touched Disney Plus since then, even though I still have a subscription. I seriously have not watched a single thing. I popped in 3 or 4 times to check in to see what was there, and nothing caught my eye. Seriously. So, for people like me, or for new people that they want to get on board, they've got to get that original content going and get it moving. So
you need to watch The Lost City. Lost City is on Disney Plus. Check that one out.
I will check it out on your recommendations.
Yes. All right. Super. What are your thoughts?
I would have loved the villain show. I'm disappointed. The Book of Enchantment, which is focusing on the Disney villains and whatnot. I don't think we have enough of that. I mean, Maleficent aside, there's other Disney villains that would be fun to look at. That's what I love about that Villainous game so much. I don't know if you guys have ever played it, where you get to pick a Disney villain, and you have to maneuver your way to win. You have an objective that you have to do, different for each one, and they have the expansions and things like that. It's really fun. If you haven't played it, you guys should go play it. Don't play Prince John though; he's a douche.
Don't forget, Emma Stone is going to be playing Cruella de Vil here soon, so we're starting on the.
Oh, I love Emma Stone, but I'm so tired of 101 Dalmatians. There are so many other Disney movies that would be so good. Why do we need to redo the one that has 7 adaptations already? Ugh. That makes me so mad. Sorry. But I love Emma Stone, so it's so hard to be angry at it.
So here's a nice twist to it. This is the part that kind of got me with this. So I'm kind of pissed at Disney because I think they're being too Disney. I get it. I understand Disney has a reputation. But if you look at how Disney Plus is right now, they've done a great job of being able to separate the different franchises. So Marvel has their own thing. Disney has their movies. The Simpsons aren't even categorized. You could just look up the Simpsons. They got their own thing. Star Wars has their own thing. So they've done a good job of splitting things and making it easy for fans to navigate it. I think Disney has the potential of doing so much stuff. But now this is where it gets kind of weird. So we keep forgetting that Disney is the empire. So they own Hulu. And they own, what was the other one? I know it's Hulu right off the bat. That's the main thing they were talking about in here. There are 2 shows, or at least one show I've seen on Hulu that's just joined recently called High Fidelity. That was actually supposed to go Disney, and they decided to switch to Hulu because of the adult content of it. There's another show that I didn't see. It's called Love, Simon. That also is switched to Hulu.
That was a movie, wasn't it?
So they have this plateau, or they have
Yeah.
Was it a movie? I'm not sure.
It was a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
So they
really
have
good
this-
movie.
Okay. So they have a platform to be able to take some of these ideas that might not be Disney-like and push it over, but they're scrapping them. Now, one show that really got my interest as far as would they scrap it is because it's one of their originals that they wanted to try bring back was a newer version of Lizzie McGuire. Now, this is where the article kind of gets into the meat. This is where the article gets in the meat of it, is because Terry Minsky, who was the showrunner for this, who I believe was involved with the first show, left the show because of the fact that Disney was being too much of a control freak. They weren't giving them that kind of freedom of it, to a point where Hilary Duff goes to Instagram and begs for them to move it to Instagram so they can make it more, because they want to try to make it to where Lizzie McGuire's grown up and now she's going to be experiencing those adult things in life, not the, oh my God, my boyfriend did this and this. It's like, holy crap, I made a wrong choice last night.
Like what they tried to do with Veronica Mars.
Yeah, and Veronica Mars, the fourth season was pretty dark. Not dark, but I mean, it was definitely more adult. But it was adult when it came in the first season. Veronica Mars was.
But they didn't transition it well. So I can.
No, they didn't transition quite as well as they could have. But I mean, because it was dealing with very adult themes the first season when it's supposed to be a teen show. I mean, you got murder, you've got RAPE, you've got the very not teenage. It was not Dawson's Creek. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So do you think that Disney's got the reins on too tight?
Always. That's like a duh. I feel like a duh.
They
should
do
be over your head.
But I think in a lot of ways they've earned it because they put a lot of restrictions and a lot of they locked down the way that they produced so many of the things that they've been doing over the past 10 years. I mean, ever since they bought Marvel, Star Wars, all of the big names that we now associate with the Disney brand, they've had like meticulous and overbearing almost control over it. And in so many ways, it's paid off. So I can understand why they would be trying to freaking put everything that they can onto it. Because, I mean, how many other production companies out there can say that they've had five movies that have grossed $1 billion at minimum and
complain about it.
I know, right? So
yeah,
they can. I think I can understand why. I can see from their perspective at least.
Yeah,
I don't agree with it. I believe that directors need their freedom of movement and their freedom to pursue their vision. And I understand that. Like if Taika Waititi he's going back to do Thor: Love and Thunder, he's going to need that artistic freedom to be able to say, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I don't want to do, because otherwise they're going to end up with another Thor: Dark World instead of Thor: Ragnarok. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, but I think Disney definitely has every right to define their brand and to say, only certain things. Like I said, PG-13 and as max on Disney Plus itself. That's Disney. It is kid oriented and everything, and that's what certain people look for. And if they want to, I still think let creators have creative control, but then funnel those things to Hulu, to other places. Why not? It only makes sense to me. I mean, if they already have the investment in it and they already have that, why not greenlight it on other services if it doesn't fit for Disney Plus? It makes sense. And there's a long history of movie studios and things having pipelines like that, where they'll have a certain mark that does certain kinds of movies and another mark owned by the same company, same people run it, that does other types of flicks. It's got a long history.
And I can agree with that. And I think that's why we're seeing this backlash, because they're allowing certain directors to have that creative control, and then they're seeing the product as it's finished, and they're going, "Oh my God, we can't air this on Disney Plus."
Yeah. So
we have to cut it off.
So Rumor2 joined us in the chat room. So welcome, by the way, to the cast this week. Yep. Let's be real. The main target audience for Disney Plus is parents that need a babysitter. Hulu is where the adults get their entertainment. goes in and then says Teenage Law and Order SVU. And then makes a comment, this is like hiring a painter to paint your house. You dictate how it's done, and the job is done, you pay for it. I just get kind of nervous because there's been talks of, because obviously we have Deadpool out there and other shows that they're planning on trying to continue. And there's already talks because of how, what was the last movie they did that didn't do too well? Just came out. I don't know if it was based on Harlequin. I'm sure it's not, but
Birds of Prey.
What's that?
Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey.
I don't know if it was based off it, but they're getting kind of nervous about Deadpool coming out with an R rating, the next one, because they're afraid that it won't produce, or I don't know. Disney gets weird sometimes, and that's where I look. Go ahead.
They're afraid it's going to upset their brand. I mean, because when you're branded by Disney, people are expecting family friendly Snow White and freaking Robin Hood and things like that. They're not expecting somebody who's going to be walking around with a baby dick,
Screw that. They better not mess with Deadpool. That needs a hard R. I need my baby.
Well, yeah, that's why they bought Fox, so they have that shield. They
had it all. They already had the shield though, because when you look at anything Marvel related, it doesn't mention anything about Disney. If I'm not mistaken, at the beginning, It's all just strictly Marvel Entertainment, and there you go. It's off to the side. So, but they
still needed to pry Deadpool away from Fox too, though. So
yeah, Deadpool can live in Hulu. I agree, Ruru, too. Hey, so let's move on to the next thing, because we could talk about Disney crap all day. Plus all day. I ain't gonna lie, I like the channel. I see something every new on it all the time. Let's move some real stuff, guys. I thought this was a great thing to talk about today. We're gonna get our science geek on. It was recently thrown out that that there's been some research done, and what I like about this research is it's done from like old school research. There's been a thesis or a theory done that the moon was actually formed because there was a planet about the size of Mars that ran into Earth, smacked into Earth, and that in return formed the moon. The reason why this theory came up is because these scientists went back and re-examined the rocks that they took back from the Apollo missions, which I like that part because I love the Apollo stuff. And they were able actually to find traces of this potential planet in those rocks from the actual moon. So yeah, it's pretty cool, because when you think, what I've always heard about it is that the moon was formed because the Earth got smacked around, never like a Mars-sized planet, but just during the whole formation creation process, it got smacked around by a bunch of stuff, and then the moon was just something left over from it in a sense. But now there's actual possible tangible evidence that it got smacked by, like I said, a planet the size of Mars, so almost like a twin of ours, and formed the Earth, and in the process gave us the moon. Nudie, you get to start off on this one. What did you think about that cool article?
Well, honestly, I loved the way they came up with the backup. I mean, this theory has been around for a long time. The whole, massive impact theory, like to create the moon, and it's just hasn't necessarily fit with the evidence they've been able to find. The models haven't fit with the evidence. And I think it's amazing that they just took existing samples we had and went back and just analyzed them differently to show, like, the secret to this backup seems to be the fact that when they initially took these oxygen isotopes, they averaged out all the samples and said, okay, this is the oxygen isotope that was most prevalent, and that matches Earth's oxygen isotope. So in this case, they actually took all the rocks and they analyzed each one separately, and they saw a very clear pattern that from the outermost rocks to the innermost rocks, the oxygen isotopes got heavier and heavier and heavier, which seems to lead that the outer layer of the moon comes from the Earth part of the impact when it hit, and then all the dust and fragments that were made from the impact kind of coalesced around the inner core of what is left of Theia, as that planet-sized object that hit us is called. So it's just really cool that it's just analyzing the data better that really got us to this evidence for a theory that's been around for a long time. We just necessarily haven't had the backup for it. I think it's beautiful.
Absolutely. Add some stuff in there, Super A. Ron.
Well, this might be a little bit of the fatigue talking, but all I'm saying is, like, if they're going to do this amount of research, which is cool, they can prove this with this amount of research. It just, like, it makes me wonder why the hell people still believe the Earth is flat.
Yeah, suck it, flat earther.
So, like, yeah, like I said, that might be the fatigue talking, because these two should not correlate in any way, shape, or form. But that's all I can think of. Is like, flat earthers can't even muster up anything to back up, and yet they're more passionate and believe more passionately than anyone that I've ever met about anything in my life. So, but I think it's cool. It almost kind of sounds like when you're monitoring, like, the age of, like, a tree, you know, when you're talking about the rings and you can see it going out. That's kind of what it reminded me of. You can kind of track the growth of the moon, I guess you could say. So that's really cool when you look at it that way.
Hey, Ron, I know you want to throw something in there.
I think it's brilliant. And I was just going to throw in something about the flat earthers, about the psychological effects of being presented with evidence. Sometimes it will change your expectations, but other times it will only reinforce the expectations that you already have. So flat earthers, they're one of the latter parts. They will see the evidence and they'll be like, no, you're lying. Obviously, I'm right. So I can understand. But
Yeah.
are you sure it's called Theia, the planet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
Theia.
So it wasn't Mirth. It wasn't the mysterious planet that was supposed to be in between Mars and Earth. It's not Mirth.
No,
No,
this
it's
is supposed to be from
Earth.
outside the solar system.
Well, damn it. Mystery Science Theater was wrong.
Yep. Damn bastards. I tell you.
I think it's amazing. I love astronomy. Astronomy and I have gotten along well since I was really, really young. My mother was big into astronomy, so she taught me a lot about stars and all the constellations and everything like that. So it's always fascinated me. And I love the fact that they are still going back to things that even happened 50 years ago or 60 years ago now. To go back and re-examine everything that we've already learned and look at it in new ways, because that's the big thing, is that oftentimes a lot of science will sit stagnant and not be re-examined with modern techniques. And I like that they will take it back and they will go, okay, well, we have this new technology now. We can go ahead and we can re-examine everything that we've learned already, and we can see what else we learned. And that, I mean, I thought always, because I'm not a freaking scientist, obviously. I always thought that it was only obvious to me that with everything that was going on since the Big Bang, so many things would have collided, and to have another planet sitting as close to us as the moon was, that was just obvious to me. So the fact that we now have concrete proof and that science has actually proved, I feel very vindicated.
So I got now, as we are doing our live show, one of the reasons why you come into our live show is because obviously the live chat. And as explained, I believe 2 weeks ago from our producer and our host, Mess, we have these cool points that you've been collecting on our Twitch channel, and you can cash them in for cool emotes and everything. Well, it seemed like some dude named Masonic Vader redeemed 1,500 points for a Super Hoovian rant, and then put Flat Earthers right after that. So, that being said, I want to hear the Super Hoovian rant for Flat Earthers. Let's go.
Well, look, I mean, I don't even know where to start. Like, they make me insane. And I've seen some weird stuff on the internet, and I've seen some things written by people that will make your mind just go, like, why do these people even exist? But these people, I mean, you saw it with the guy that just recently died in the rocket. He was trying to prove flat Earth existed. I almost have to admire your dedication. You literally sacrificed your life to prove to the world that you were wrong. So kudos to you, dumbass. I mean, what is the point? Like, what are you hoping to achieve by justifying the world is flat? I don't understand what your purpose in life is. Like, you make me sad. Like, flat earthers just make me sad. I don't even know, like, they drive me insane, because they spend so much of their life. Like, if you put that much purpose and passion and dedication into something that actually matters, I don't know, maybe you could solve AIDS. I'm just saying, like, they're freaking crazy. I got into a debate. I think Red Meepaw, if you're still in the chat, back me up. You have a friend that is a 100% dedicated flat earther that you talk to me about all the time when we're playing World of Warcraft. Yeah, she says, yes, I do. I'm looking at the chat. She says, yes, I do. But I want to say it's her cousin or something like that. And he's like a total conspiracy nut, 100%. But I just want to I want to pitch in. I want to buy these guys like a giant boat and just send them off on the ocean and like video their journey as they keep circling the globe. And I want to see how many times they're going to circle the damn globe before they realize that they're just going in a circle. I want to know if it's going to be like the Blair Witch Project, being like, I think we passed that continent before. I think that island looks familiar. Are you crazy? Am I crazy? I think we're all crazy. And then they're just crying in corners.
I see dead people.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's what he says. He says that the Earth is flat because we have not seen the entire rounded Earth in one picture.
Yeah.
That's not how.
That's not how anything works. That's not how logic works.
And that famous blue dot picture that we do have of all the Earth that you can see from one side, at least.
And you know what? According to flat earthers, Carl Sagan was the devil. So.
Yeah, apparently a flat earther is not in the Navy, because I can tell you right now, if my dad was alive, he'd probably punch him in the face, because he's done the circumference.
Yeah,
and you don't fall off the other end. You go all the way around, peeps.
Yeah.
So
like, I think too, if her friend is correct, like, Australia doesn't exist because there's no way that it can exist on the map. Like, it's baffling, utterly baffling.
That was 1,500 well spent. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's move on, because we got a couple more things going on. Thank you very much for that. We've got a nice oldie but goodie from the comic world. So they recently threw out an article about the death of Jason Todd.
Yeah. This interested me.
Yeah, this was cool. I kind of remember this, but I didn't remember it went so far with the 900 number and stuff. But what had happened was this: Jason Todd, who eventually becomes Red Hood. Yeah. There was a comic. I can't remember what the actual name of the comic was for this one. Do you remember what it was called?
Death in the Family.
Death in the Family. And what it was is that Red Hood got Jason Todd got captured by the Joker, and the comic at the end was like I think it was the first comic choose your own adventure. Okay,
it's still to this day, I believe, the only choose your own adventure where they actually paid people, and they paid the 900 number and said, call in, vote, yes he dies, or no he doesn't.
Yeah, so that was the whole thing. At the end of the comic, they throw it out there and say, hey, if you want Jason Todd to die by the hands of the Joker, you're going to call this 1-900 number. For you young people that are younger than 30 and you're asking what's a 1-900 number, that was something that was back in the 80s and early 90s, where you would call 1-900 and whatever the phone number was, it would be $2.99 down and 99 cents a minute, and you can listen to jokes, or like a lot of us did, you called those 1-900 numbers that you weren't supposed to call. Anyways, and they did it for this. And with this one, you would call and you would dial a number, and if you wanted him to die by the hands of the Joker, you called one number, and they would charge you like $2 for that one call. Or if you didn't want him to die, you would call this other 900 number, and there you go. And the crazy thing about it is, I believe, I don't know, I can't remember the exact amount of how many call-ins they got, but it was a difference of 72 votes.
Yeah,
that happened. And ultimately, because comic fans always want to see something that shocks and awe, the winner was that Jason Todd died by the hands of the Joker, which it doesn't come as a surprise, because you don't see that much death in comics. I mean, there's a reason why Cobra Commander always escapes, or the Joker always gets away, or whatever. That's what happens, right? They die, you don't have a comic. So now it's been released that we could actually, now it's been out how many freaking years now, that you could actually find out what would have happened if he would have lived. How cool is this? And I'm going to start with Ron.
Well, it only makes sense. I mean, they had to prepare for each eventuality, so it only makes sense that they would have had the artists and the writers draw up finales for both instances. Absolutely. So the fact that it took this long to come out, the fact that it took this long for them to actually post pictures and close it out in a much different fashion, that kind of blows my mind. But the fact that they did it all when they didn't really have to, I dig it. I like it. I think it's a really cool thing. It's like one of those Easter eggs that you find at the end of a good movie. You see kind of some of the deleted scenes, things that could have happened.
Oh, I guess I should announce spoilers for anybody who hasn't lived since 19 or hasn't left their house 19 whatever year this comic came out.
Yeah, anybody who hasn't played Arkham Knight or read any Batman comic ever.
There's some fan out there that will see this and be like, "No, that's the next episode, not the next issue." No, Nudie, throw your stuff in, man.
Yeah, no, honestly, first off, I would like to show my original Batman from that original time release of Jason Todd becoming Robin. Little 3-arc series here where Dick Grayson gets retired and Jason Todd takes over. Fun little setup. I like it.
Yeah.
For my old original collection. Yes, I think it's cool. You know, you get to see the other side of the coin and you get to see Batman being Batman. If you actually look at the panel, you know, his primary motivation in there is to make sure that, I got to get his costume off before I get him to the hospital. He may die, but you know, I can't, you know, threaten, jeopardize the secret identity. So, you know, it's
priorities.
It's good old Batman. Yeah. So, you know,
priorities.
Yeah, indeed. It's shows the character and his complexities and that, and you know, it's fun little behind the scenes reveal, seeing how the sausage is made.
Sorry, that's
except most of the time people don't want to know how the sausage is made.
Yeah, I don't want to know how the hot dog's made. Please, I don't want to see that. Yeah, it's cool. I want to go get it now. I want to be able to. I hope they sell it. I hope they put it out there. Because did they say if they're going to sell the release it or anything, or they're just going to talk about it?
I doubt it. I don't think they're going to re-release it. I think they're just going to put that Easter egg out there and be like, okay, this is what could have happened. Because they didn't, from what I saw, they didn't even. It wasn't even colored panels or anything like that. So
yeah, it was black and white.
I doubt they're going to remaster it or put it out. So yeah,
gotcha.
Besides, I wouldn't like it if they did. It kind of would detract from the whole Jason Todd character. He grew into one of the most complex and almost anti-Batman characters that you could possibly get, and I think he's fantastic. Him as the Red Hood it's been a brilliant arc, and it's been a brilliant kind of not necessarily foil to Batman in Gotham, but it's been something that he's had to fight against, but not really fight against. And I like that tension that they have. I like the tension that he has to put on the Red Hood, and the Red Hood puts back on him to make sure that they're both at the peak of their game. And I love it. I love the interaction between the two of them.
Yeah. Super, what were you going to throw in there?
I like the Red Hood. In fact, the Red Hood, Batman Under the Red Hood, is probably my favorite Batman animated movie of all time. Actually, I like it better than some of the live action Batmans. Batman and Robin.
Hey, don't talk shit about George Clooney.
I love George Clooney, but good Lord, if I have to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger be a villain and make bad freezing jokes again, it'll be too soon. So I agree. Like, I think if you take that away, you don't get the Red Hood anymore, and without, you know, so you take away a whole mythos of Batman that I think that is wonderful. So
yes, I agree. And I'm glad they did it. I'm really glad they did it because it's always one of those fun things, especially because it's, I don't know, been 30 years or something. So, all right, we got a couple. What's that? More than 30?
Almost 30 years. Yeah.
Oh, God, thank God. I'm not that old yet. All right, we got a couple more things on here. There are a couple quick ones. I'm going to go to Naughty Dog really quick. Naughty Dog had an article come out, or they put an article out recently, Naughty Dog. Now, if you don't know who Naughty Dog is, hey, Ron, can you throw in the knowledge of Naughty Dog, please?
Naughty Dog has come up with some of the best storylines in modern video gaming history. The Nathan Drake collection, The Last of Us, and The Last of Us Part 2 coming out. Both of those collections are just phenomenal storytelling and phenomenally graphic and directed, and they're beautiful pieces of work.
And amazing graphics for the time, for the
oh yes
platforms they were on. They really pushed that graphics envelope.
I think Naughty Dog did. I think Naughty Dog did a great job of bringing that back to video gaming, because I do think that was a lost kind of art for a while. You had your Final Fantasies during the 80s and 90s and whatnot. You had these great story-driven video games out there, and then first-person shooters kind of dominated. So having This Is Us, The Last of Us, This Is Us, The Last of Us come out was and I've said this in the chat room last week. I haven't gone through the first full game. I got so many minutes into it, but that's also me also getting drenched into the first shooting game versus going away. Because I'm a huge fan of the Final Fantasy series up to a point. So, but when you go and look at all the articles on the actual game series and the reviews and everything, there's no arguing that it's practically got a 10 from everybody who plays the game.
Yeah, it's probably the highest reviewed game in the last 10 years or 15 years, maybe. It's got higher reviews, and it's a higher caliber of game than most that have come out in quite a long time.
Now, did it come at a price though? Because the article is about saying that the Naughty Dog has created what's called a crunch culture. And if you're not familiar with what that is in video gaming or whatever, that is when you are designing a game, they force their employees to work super long hours to make sure that the game is completed by a certain date in order to get it out to the masses and everything. So they're being charged or blamed for creating this crunch culture in video gaming. My thoughts on this, because I've kind of been just kind of in the background, is this. Hey, if the people are getting paid their overtime and they're getting paid their money and they're getting well compensated for what they're doing, create whatever culture you want, as long as you're not breaking HR rules or anything. I mean, kind of like what I think Mess said earlier. Do I get my games? Do we get the games we're looking for out of this? I mean, ultimately, I think if you're going to join this type of company and you see the product they have, I am sure that you have the expectations already given to you that's what's going to happen if you do join this. Because I've worked at companies that have made you work a lot of hours, and it was quite beneficial in one form or another. And at one point or another, you didn't mind working those hours, especially when it was good, because you created your own work family in a sense. Some of my best friends are from people I've worked with working those crazy ass hours. But is it a good or a bad thing that they've created this environment? Nudie, I saw you shaking your head. I'm going to start with you, sir.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got to disagree vehemently. For one, crunch culture is a very common thing around video game development in general. It's everywhere, and it's not just Naughty Dog. Although, the thing to me is getting a quality game is very important, and I love very well-made, good video games. But coming from somebody who has worked a salaried position at a major international bank and have worked 80-plus hour weeks for 3 months straight, running a closing wholesale department, managing 20 people and getting stuff done, and you got to do what you got to do. It was hell, man. Seriously, it was not good to live your life that way. And helped tank my marriage, you know? So this is it has an effect on people's lives. So to me, I would much rather do like they're doing with Cyberpunk, or they've done with other games, and just push it back. If it takes you more
Exactly.
time to make a quality product, I'll wait. I would much rather not have a crunch time culture at any video game place, and just have a little bit of patience and let these people have some kind of decent work-life balance, man. I mean, sure, they may do it for the money, they may get compensated well, but in the end, it has
It's
a
not
really big
worth
impact on
it.
people's lives. Yeah, and just put a quality product out in more time,
Yeah, that's
Gotcha.
why I
Super,
like.
jump in. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
go
All right,
ahead.
Aaron, go for it first. So go for it.
That's why I like CD Projekt Red so much, because I mean, ever since I saw hell, has it been 10 years yet? Because I'm pretty sure it's been about 10 years since I saw the first trailer for Cyberpunk 2077. And
Yeah, I think
their
it's been at least
tagline,
12 years. 12 years now. I
their
think.
their tagline for it was ready when it's done. Not coming out this date this year, not we're going to put it out when we say it's ready. No, it's ready when it's finished. That's literally what their tagline was for the entirety of their shoot. I think if it's been 12 years, it's been 11 since they said it's going to be ready when it's ready. So don't push us. I like that kind of attitude. You don't need to say, we need to have this many games out per year or this many, because if you put out a quality product, people are going to continue to buy it. People are like they did with The Witcher. The entire Witcher series came out over a period of almost a decade, 3 games, and it's lauded as the best open world RPG that has ever been created, The Witcher 3. So you don't necessarily need to be like a Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed or any one of these other Ubisoft or EA or Activision people who have contributed to the crunch culture. You don't need to be like them in order to put out a quality product. And because of that, I think people need to take note that it's not necessary for them to kill their employees and drive them to other publishing corporations and other developers in order to put out the quality, the product that they think that is necessary for them. So I like the fact that other companies are kind of steering away from that culture, and the fact that Naughty Dog is contributing to it kind of makes me a little sad, because I love their games. I love the Nation Dirt collection. I love the Last of Us. I'm looking so forward to The Last of Us Part 2, but the fact that they're not doing well by their employees kind of makes me a little irritated.
Super, get in there now. What do you think?
I think if your employees feel like they're stuck at their desk and they're chained to their desk and need to question, do I need to wear Depends to work today because I'm afraid of getting up from my desk and go to the bathroom? Like, we might have a problem in that case. And no video game is worth that. Nothing is worth that. I mean, I believe in the value of hard work, and I believe in putting in some good long days. But when your entire life revolves around work and sleep, there's no balance there, and that's not what I don't want to play games that contribute to that. And then two, when you look at it, if you're on such a constant rush, your quality declines. It does. I mean, look at the Aragon books, for example. I mean, I know it's not a video game, it's a book, but they rushed that kid that was writing those series. He wrote the first one,
Yeah.
and he wrote the second one in a good amount of time, but they told him, like, dude, no, your fans want more, give them more. So they like sat him down. They literally just put him on a time. He's like, 3 months, you got to be done with this book in 3 months. Go. So he was writing like
not wrong.
nonstop, and this is a kid. He's like 19 years old. You know, he was 16 when his first book got published, and the third book was absolutely garbage, and it was widely panned as horrible, and he gets slammed. And thankfully, at the time, social media wasn't a big thing, because who knows what would have happened. You know, back at that time, it was still MySpace and Facebook. You know, and he could have been bullied off the internet, never wrote the fourth book. We never know. And he took his time and wrote the fourth book, but at that point it was already done because he had to fix all the mistakes the rushing the third book did. And the series never really recovered, and they botched and that's another rant. Don't get me started on the movie. But yeah, it's just, I want to play quality. I don't need 15 games in 1 year from one company. That's, just give me 1 or 2 really good quality games, and then, take your time and enjoy your life, dude.
Yeah, they also got to remember that it's not just the quality of the game that suffers. It's the quality of the company that suffers, because they're going to drive. So, I mean, rest in peace, BioWare, for God's sake, because the development of so many Mass Effect games and so many Dragon Age games and Anthem and all of these things that they tried to do in such a short amount of time drove so many key developers and so many key writers out of the corporation, just completely gone. And because of that, you saw the just immensely rapid decline of their overall quality of their games, overall quality of their writing, overall quality of their development, and it was just a nightmare. And right now they're still suffering. No one trusts them to put out a good quality game anymore. And no one's more disappointed about that than I am. But they need to take note of that really, really dramatic fact that if they don't treat their employees well, they're going to walk. They will walk away. And it's not going to be just the foot soldiers that are out there doing the coding for you. It's going to be the upper hierarchy of the people that are making those games the way that they should be. And if they don't remember that, then they're gonna fold in like BioWare did.
We got our one of our producers in the chat room, Jack Malice there. EA kind of shit canned most of their good people in BioWare because they wanted more money and refused to live under the sword of Demetrius. Yeah,
I think he's trying to say, please.
Yeah, thank you. Now don't start flooding me with Twitter stuff or anything saying that I'm some kind of a hardcore whatever and stuff. I've lived through the life of that, like Nudie said, that 60 to 80 hour a week work life. And, I guess there's expectations for it. If you're going to go to this game and it's out there, or this company that's out there, it, that's the expectation. You're hoping that you ride or die with that company and stuff versus not, jumping in there and then, find it afterwards. In other words, do your research. I mean, I'm not a fan of anything like that, but if that's the way they want to run their company, it's producing games that people like to play, then, people just expect that and go from there. I'm all about work-life balance, but some companies just like to go hardcore to make their money, and that's how it works. So trust me, I like my work-life balance. I'm not a slave driver. All right,
trying to pull together to make a quota is very different than establishing the rules that perpetrate this kind of lifestyle. So I mean, if one game is falling behind and people need to freaking band together and say, okay, we really need to freaking push 60 hours this week and freaking make it happen. I can understand that. I can understand if an entire corporation comes together and unifies and freaking pushes forward like that. I can get behind that. I can respect that. But if it's the CEOs that are working 45 hours and then going home to their multi-million-dollar home and saying, you know what, all you people need to work 80 hours a week and make sure that I can line my pockets with the money that I think I deserve. No, I'm not behind that.
Well, and if it's standard operating procedures, just happens over and over again.
Exactly. That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. If it's continually perpetrated and it just keeps going like that forever, that's the type of stuff that kills companies.
All right. Well, hey, let's move on to one more topic and we'll get out of here because I added this at the last minute. I'm sure you guys saw this. So we have Spider-Man out in the world and Tom Holland's doing his thing and the MCU helped it out and Sony's being a punk about it, whatever and stuff. We got one spinoff, which is Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, which was quite successful.
I don't know what this is. What are we talking about?
Oh,
yeah.
you missed it? Oh,
no, I
good.
have no idea what's going on right now.
Sweet. Here we go. So the last thing I want to talk about tonight, there is talks going on that they want to do another spin-off series from Spider-Man. Okay. We got, so apparently the success of Spider-Verse, and I don't know if it's necessarily the success of it being a spin-off of Spider-Man as much as, holy crap, that was a really good movie and it was done quite well. But there's so much, like, I think Tom Holland has done a great job of bringing Spider-Man to life, and the writing and everything that they've produced out of his two movies, plus in conjunction with Infinity War and whatnot, has brought it to a new height that they've found a way that they could be able to maybe sustain and bring another movie out. So they're in talks of trying to do a spinoff. Now, here's the problem, though. The spinoff is being tapped or being taken care of by Roberto Orci, or I hope I said his last name right. If not, I just pulled a mess. If you're familiar with that and you're a Spider-Man fan, you will already start getting nervous because he is the guy who did the Amazing Spider-Man 2, which has been, I guess, known as the one that killed Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I'm gonna hold my thoughts to the end. What are you, Aaron? You had a smile on your face. What about it, sir?
Okay, so if it's the same guy that wrote Amazing Spider-Man 2, I think that, hopefully, crossing my fingers, he's learned from what he did wrong in that movie. Because, yeah, it was widely panned. And he took one of the most heart-wrenching Spider-Man plot lines ever, the death of Gwen Stacy, and didn't do well to pull people's heartstrings with it. And because of that, it was a sad movie in all the wrong ways. And because of it, I'm hoping that he, number one, paid attention, and number two, if he can learn from the things that he did wrong in that movie, pulling a spinoff out of the Tom Holland universe would be amazingly easy for him. Because there's so many plot strings that they can take in so many different directions. I mean, number one, they brought Mysterio to the big screen in the best way possible. Jake Gyllenhaal did amazing work with him, and they made him exactly how he needed to be. Not a freaking physical badass, not a genius mastermind, but somebody who was good at fooling people into what they needed to believe in order to make his work as easy as it needed to be. If they can do that, and with him writing, I think that this will be a good thing. And it can be an amazing thing if he learned from the mistakes that he made during Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Super. What do you think about it, Super?
Okay, so guys had one bad movie. Come on, did you guys look at the rest of his resume? He has written Hawaii Five-0, which is still going strong. Scorpion, Sleepy Hollow, Fringe. I love that damn show. Alias, one of the best written shows ever. The rebooted Star Trek trilogy, which had some hit and misses, let's not lie. He wrote the first two Transformers. The first one, fantastic. So don't judge him just by that piece of crap garbage that was the Amazing Spider-Man 2 or whatever the hell it's called. This guy has talent. If he goes, no, I know you know. I'm talking about the internet people that are trashing him.
I know the talent's there. The talent is there.
Oh God!
But
I mean, if he
can
can
how to
draw
write a good comic book movie.
Yeah, so if he can draw on some of the things that he did with Fringe and Alias and pull in that horror and Sleepy Hollow, first season of Sleepy Hollow is one of the best things I've ever seen. And if pull some of those elements and get some of those characters that have that horror to it, I think it could be a really good movie. He just needs a good co-writer. He's got to pick a solid co-writer to write with him, because on all those other ones he had someone there working with him side by side, and just bring John Noble in. I mean, John Noble makes everything better.
So that list you threw out, the thing that kind of piqued my interest on is the fact that most of those were television shows.
Most of them
I know a lot
are
of them are television
and a lot of
shows.
and a lot of them are horror based.
And then the
horror-based.
2 movies you said were the first 2 Transformers, right?
And also the rebooted Star Trek trilogy.
What was he writing for the rebooted Star Trek, or what was he doing for that?
Yeah, so he helped
right?
write. He was
So-
on. Yeah.
So I'll give him the Star Trek trilogy. The Transformer ones. The only reason
I
why
liked
I think
the first one.
well, okay, so I think people like the first Transformer movies because Michael Bay brought them to life in a sense. Let's just be frank. Now he drove it. He broke them to life, and then he decided to drive him back into and bury him again. But he brought it to the big screen. He did. Because I don't remember Orci being. Or let me wait. And actually, let me fix this. Our producer on live screen can't say names right, but for some reason in the chat room, he's got to fix me and say it's Orci. Okay, so Orci. Orci. Yeah. I don't remember him being tagged that stuff. I just remember Michael Bay and Optimus Prime. So, and you know, he did take one of the most. I think one of the coolest characters of Spider-Man with one of the most electrifying actors and bury that one too because Electro sucked in that one. Nudie.
Yeah, well, Jamie Foxx couldn't have done any better with the script that they gave him.
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx is an amazing actor. Jamie Foxx can pull something out of nothing. I mean, if you look at what he did with Ray, if you haven't seen the movie The Soloist. He did that with Robert Downey Jr.
That's a good movie. That's a very good movie. Absolutely.
Beautiful acting. Beautifully acted. Beautifully done. Jamie Foxx can pull something out of nowhere if he's given the right writing. And the writing, like I said, Orci didn't knock it out of the park.
Orci.
Sorry. That dude didn't knock it out of the park.
Super, did you say he did Mission Impossible 3 too?
Yeah, he co-wrote that.
Okay, so I'm down with that one because I think that was the best villain in all the Mission Impossible ones.
As long as it wasn't 2.
No, it was number 3.
It was 3.
And that was with what's his name who passed away?
Kurtzman. Right? Kurtzman?
Not Kurtzman.
No.
Guy who played in the Hunger Games.
Yeah, he also played in Boogie Nights.
No, not Philip Seymour
Philip
Hoffman.
Seymour Hoffman. Yeah, that was yeah, he was, I think, one of the best villains in any kind of spy thing in a long time. Yeah, that was a phenomenal character. All right, so throw your thoughts in on Orci, Super.
Me? Again?
I'm down with it.
I thought you did. Oh, was it Rudy who didn't throw it in there? Rudy, did you not throw in your 2 cents?
No, that's fine. No big deal. But as far as me, I think, the takeaway is, for one, hey, Sony, it's good that they're, using the properties that they own and are doing something fun with them. But for me, really, I wish, and I know it's not going to happen, but that they could resolve the differences with Disney and just partner up with all of their Marvel-verse stuff they have and bring them in the MCU, because the stuff that Sony has done with Marvel has been top-notch work. It has been really good movies. And the main thing I have to compare is like Venom, which I saw and I enjoyed. And, it was good acting by Hardy. The whole, Venom thing brought it pretty well, but just wasn't the same caliber of movie, of writing that they've done in the pair-ups with the MCU. So to me, it's just more just, hey, Sony, make your money, but I really wish that they could put their differences aside and just meld all the characters together into the universe, man. It's my 2
I'm hoping
cents.
they do, because there's supposed to be Tom Holland cameo in Venom 2.
Oh, there's no cameo. I think there's going to be a little bit more to it because they're blending it.
I'm not betting on more. I'm betting on just some sort of allusion to them existing in the same universe now.
You know what I could see him doing it with? I think it's going to be similar to Batman and Suicide Squad.
Could be, yeah.
Enough to associate, because from what I get, or what the feel of this is going to be the beginning of, I'm hoping, the Sinister Six.
Oh,
that's where
yeah.
I get kind of that's why I get nervous to that. That's why I get nervous.
Especially but they threw in the Michael Keaton cameo in the Morbius movie.
That's my point, though. That's the reason why I'm nervous about this mashup, because Sony, like you said, Sony is trying to. I think they're just trying to establish their dominance again with this. They're like, "Oh, thanks for the help, Marvel. We got this now." And what do? They go back to the guy who, kind of buried the Spider-Man franchise with the poor script and everything. Hey, let's go back to these guys again.
Maybe. I mean, I can
learn your
lesson
lesson,
because it's like David fighting Goliath right now. Sony is fighting a juggernaut that is Disney, and they're going to be like, okay, well, if I grab your nuts hard enough, are you going to give me what I want?
Let me tell you something. If I get in the fight with my best friend, and me and my best friend get our asses kicked, right? And I want to go get some revenge on that guy, I'm not bringing that guy back. I'm bringing somebody else back who's going to be able to have my back better. And that's the point that I was trying to drive to. Sony, you have the opportunity to ride a wave of unprecedented success and finally get yourself out of the ashes of the ass clown that you've done before. And what do? You hire the guy that almost buried one of the most beloved franchises. And you've got all the right settings for it. You found the good Venom. You have an incredible Spider-Man. There's even the strong possibility that you're going to get smart enough to actually come up with a multiverse and bring all the Spider-Mans together. Because if you did that, I guarantee that some record is going to be broken.
Yeah, they will. It will.
But you go back. You go back to the guy that buried it almost. Like, seriously, I totally agree with you from the beginning. That's probably one of the best storylines of Spider-Man is the death of Gwen Stacy. It was one of those ones where you're really like, holy shit. And then you're going to go back to the guy that practically ruined it and borrowed from the original, like the upside down kissing bullshit stuff. Come on.
It could happen. I mean, it could. It like I said, if he's learned from the mistakes that he made, then he could definitely make something beautiful out of this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the fact that they're bringing in the development team from Venom and they're bringing in Woody freaking Harrelson as Carnage.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about it. Oh, my God. That's like the perfect casting for me. That's just that when I saw him in the freaking
those pictures,
the post-credit scenes. No, the post-credit scene after the first Venom movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Because
oh my God.
Forget Venom, dude. Honestly, the Carnage symbiote is the best symbiote. It's
Carnage is going to be fun. Oh yeah.
Yes, it will be.
And bringing Woody Harrelson in to play him, that solidifies the Venom universe, and bringing Tom Holland into that is only going to build upon it in the best way possible. So
and remember, there's a bunch of other stuff going on, like Morbius is coming out too. So
oh yeah, I know.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with
it. And Jared Leto has learned his mistakes.
Trust don't be the Joker.
That guy knows not to pull another freaking Joker crazy. He knows that shit. He knows it. He ain't gonna do it anymore.
Well, guys, that's our show. I wanted to throw that curveball at the end because I thought that was something we could definitely talk about. I'd love to throw in this list about how they just threw out like a couple seconds ago how Superman's the most popular superhero of all time, but Marvel still beats DC. But we'll leave that for another show. Guys, where can everybody, all of our fine friends that are watching this tonight and following along and checking us out on Stitcher and YouTube and Twitch and every other, where can these fine fellows and ladies follow you? We'll start with Ron.
Okay, so I'm gonna start drunk posting again at Das Newport Kid on Twitter and Instagram and on Xbox Live and PlayStation Network as well.
Nice. Nudie Rudy, sir, where can they follow you?
Superman can take a flying fornication to Rolling Donut.
That's a long
And,
Twitter handle, sir.
Nudie Rudy on Twitter, Nudie Rudy on Instagram, and Nudie Rudy on PlayStation Live. Hope to see you there.
Nice. Super. Where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at SuperHoovyandNut, and then you can follow me on Instagram at SuperHoovyandFreak.
Yeah, definitely. Like I mentioned at the beginning,
Good stuff.
yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, follow her stuff, especially if you're all in the Supernatural, because at Vegas Con, there's a lot of awesome pictures there. How many did you download? I think there's got to be somewhere at least 100 so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I took a lot of pictures that I haven't uploaded yet. I posted a lot of my ops that I did, so there was at least 25 there. And then I had the video from the karaoke, which someone was kind enough to record for me, and send it to me, because that was crazy.
We can't talk about that.
Yeah.
That stays in Vegas.
I'm gonna get too no, it doesn't stay in Vegas because I know
He
about it. And I'm gonna get too upset because I wanted to be there.
Yeah, I know. Well, you got next year. They're doing the convention next year.
Yeah.
So you'll have to come to this one.
Yeah.
And then so there was the stuff from like the meet and greets. You obviously do post major pictures from there, but I did have some pictures from the meet and greets. So and then I have some stuff from the panels that I'm gonna upload.
Nice. Cool. So definitely follow her. And of course, you can follow me at Masonic Vader 71 on Twitter, Masonic Vader on PlayStation Network. Thank you so much for Malice Corp for letting us do our thing this week again. We appreciate you every week. Please, once again, like I mentioned before, follow us at all the stuff. I believe it's on the right-hand shoulder right there. It's all those little spots there. Follow us. If you have Amazon Prime and you're on Twitch, subscribe to us. It's free to you, and it helps us out as we try to make ourselves bigger and stronger. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate your time. You guys have a wonderful week. Stay safe out there, and we look forward to seeing you and hearing from you next week. Stay nerdy, everyone. Take care. Be safe.
Strong like bull.
Peace out.